I've said this before, and you'll catch me saying it a lot. People are always chasing returns. They want the best return, and people are lured in by the promise of, some sexy return, 30%, or some pro forma that, has outlandish numbers. And these are just like the likelihood of most groups hitting their pro formas are like, it's just really low. They're not, most groups, the best thing you can do is look at past results and what the pro forma was for a deal that's already gone full cycle. So let's just say someone actually hits these big return numbers. It's still pennies compared to the compounding effect of saving taxes. So any strategy that you can do to mitigate taxes is by far and away the largest return you're ever going to have. So to go full circle, the thing that I always say is people are chasing the return, but what they should be chasing is the tax strategy, because you make a heck of a lot more money and your overall return profile is way greater on money you save from the tax man and can do with, whatever you do than it is for any investment that you're actually doing outside of some that maybe you get an outsized return where you get into some type of unicorn, but the odds of that are just not really good.
Yeah, I totally agree. Justin has a really, really good slide set that I asked a while back that he sent to me. It's just, when you look at it, your jaw kind of drops. And it shows, I think it's a 20-year chart on income that is taxed every year and what you have left at the end of the 20 years in terms of investment. Same investment, not taxed after 20 years. Justin, do you remember the number? It's like 85,000 versus 5 million.
It's disturbingly low. In fact, what would really be fun is if we could just do this real quick. I think there could be a lot of value, and if I just can find it and pull it up. Here, let's.
While you're looking for that, let me share another thing that was really valuable in that same slide set. Earlier, when I was in my early cash career, I was dumping max into my retirement account. I've always been disciplined that way. It's max out, max out. And my stockbroker kept telling me, well, this over the last 10 years, this is averaged 12%. This is average 10%. And I'm just like, sweet, happy, let's go in, whatever. And I get hooked up with Eric and Justin, and they took the pin and totally popped my balloon, because you have to be so careful with when you hear the word, what's the 10-year average? Because in this slide set, I think you still have that in that same slide set, Justin, that the average can be very, very misleading. And Justin, you'll say it much better than me. So I'm going to let you say, if you put in 100 grand and you go up 50% in year one, then down 50%, I'll let you explain that if you're prepared to do that.
I'd love to be able to do the animations, but this is actual numbers of an average rate of return versus an actual rate of return. And so most people think that, if you lose 50%, gain 50%, and whatever order it is, and you do this over a period of time, over 4 years, that you don't lose any money because the average is zero. But when you put actual dollars into it in year one, if you start off making 50%, you're up to 150,000 on 100 grand investment. You lose 50, you're down to 75. You make 50 again, you double up, or almost double up. You go to 112.5, and then you lose 50, you're down to 56. So where the financial markets, the institutions, the financial planners, Wall Street in general, they're going to tell you, oh yeah, your average was zero. But what most people don't get is you lost 43.75% of your money in this scenario. So one of the really fun things I like to do is the comparison of this is the power of tax-free growth, right? So there are a lot of vehicles where you can get tax-free growth. And outside of tax-free growth, you've got basically just a vacuum of leaching your money. And so I have this comparison of $1 doubled every year in a tax-free vehicle, and then $1 every year in a taxed vehicle. And so, you know, to kind of go through this, we'll just go, you know, quickly. You'll see, you know, how this goes as your dollar doubled every year. So again, if this is in like a Roth IRA, a whole life policy, a PPLI, private placement life insurance, there's a handful of vehicles where this money will grow tax-free. So in 20 years, you've now made $1 million off of just $1 if you're actually getting it to compound. So we're not actually going to double it every year. But this, I like doing this for effect, because once you get to the taxable side, let's say that this is taxed at 33% on your gain, you're going to see this every year being taxed. And so anyone have a guess at what you think the difference is going to be from $1 million in an untaxed environment to what year 20 is going to be in a taxed environment? Any guesses?
Put it in the chat, come up and talk about it. What do you think it is?
What do you think? And I can't see a chat right now, so I don't know if people are tossing.
500K says Joe. Joe with good question asker. We'll see if he's good at getting this stuff right.
Anyone else? Oh, here's my
Todd
chat.
at 390K. Todd's pretty smart too. He might be smarter than Joe. I'm not sure.
Whoa.
Kristen's definitely smarter than both of them at 240K.
Man, are you just giving hints away on this? Anyone else care to throw a number in there?
Lumpkin just texted me. He said 1,850,000.
That sounds like Duncan.
All right, so
I love taxes.
we're gonna have a little bit of fun. You guys ready? So first year, you're at 167. Keep throwing your numbers in the chat. Let's see what happens here. So each year we're taxed at 33%. Just pay attention to this. This is gonna blow your mind. In year 20, your money only compounds to $28,466.20 in that environment. And the whole purpose of this is simply to give you the comparison of what tax-free growth does compared to taxable income. So from a tax standpoint, there is nothing more important you can do than shelter your money from taxes and get it inside of vehicles that create tax-free growth.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time and effort in finding tax efficient investments. Real estate, we all know, is a great place. Hotels, apartments for me have been fabulous. And not only, if you can't get it in a tax, we call it tax exempt. If you can't get it into that bucket, at least get it in tax deferred. And here's the way I look at it. I'll make an investment if I can defer it for 5 years. In most cases, you should be able to do that, especially with real estate. Let's just say it's $1 million. Instead of writing $1 million check in taxes to the current administration, sending it in, it's gone forever. If I can defer writing that check and invest it, I can pretty comfortably double that in 5 years. Now at the end of 5 years, I have $2 million. I still have to, since it's deferred, I still have to send the 1 million to my friend Joe. But I made $1 million off of that over the 5-year period. And that's significant too. And so I look at capital gains and ordinary income is if I can either wash them out or defer it, at minimum, I'm getting on year one, I'm getting a 24% return on a cap gain. That's how I see it. So probably maybe we made our point on tax deferring, but it's a big deal. It's a really important deal. In fact, when I was at Justin's event last year in Texas, in Austin, he, yeah, I was up on, was I up at stage last year? Yeah, I was. Okay, that's where it was. It was in Austin. I had shared with the group, I knew the previous year, so this was in 2021, I told the group, I haven't paid taxes for the last 2 years. I was making a lot of money. And I know I won't be paying taxes for the next 3 years because of all of the depreciation and type of investments I had made that were going to wash out all of my ordinary and capital gains income. Now, what changed for me, and I do have a serious tax problem right now, is I didn't know I was going to sell my business this year and have to fight for my life to not write a super big check.
Yeah, it's interesting in the life cycle of selling a business. You just it's tough depending on how much time you give yourself. But if anyone's going to sell a business, you want to do everything in your power to come up with strategies to offset that sale, because you only have to get creative, most likely this one time. And if you can figure it out, I mean, that is a massive, massive savings. And like Darcy, I mean, I had my biggest earning year last year in 2021. This year in 2022 will be bigger. Basically every year for me has grown and has been bigger. And tomorrow's the day that we need to finish up all the extension stuff, September 15th, but I'm going to be paying $0 in taxes this year as well. And from my book and some of the investments I've done, most of you can probably have a reasonable idea of the type of income that I earn. So that is strategies, everything. I mean, there's no investment on earth that in 1 year is going to make me the savings that I have by paying 0%. And by the way, I don't even know when my blended tax rate was higher than 12% in like the last decade. So that's it. That's the key. And then if you can take those dollars and actually put them to work, I mean, that's really the holy grail.